first meeting of the year that we provide the committee with opportunity to nominate for its election, the Area B Advisory Plan Heritage Commission Chair. And so first order of business is to call for nominations for the chair position. How many nominations?
Nominate Wade. All right, appreciate that. But also, there's a great group here. So if anybody wants to, like, please feel free to. I have a great time. Yeah.
Any other nominations? Once? Please. Confirm.
Wait.
Thanks. Last year,
I see there's the chair's address here, so you don't mind.
yeah.
Speak to it. Go ahead, Wade.
So yeah, so last year, Lon, you stepped in and the chair. Are you interested and able
I'd do that
to do that again?
if I was nominated, yeah.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yep.
I do have some travel in May. I don't know if we're gonna have a meeting in May, but I'm gonna go run half a marathon on the Great Wall of China. So I won't be here. That's a good excuse then. I think also maybe just before we go, we do have a bit of a pack agenda tonight. I just want to make sure that we're always looking for continuous improvement ways to do these sessions better. We don't get to have very many of them. I think like 5 months ago was the last one. So maybe if we can though, over the next little bit, sort of think about things that might make this easier or more enjoyable or bring a bit more structure to it. I'd be willing to hear and try to input or feedback. I just want to put that out there. And then I'd like to sorry. Yeah, I'll get that. Yeah, I'm following the order. Yeah, but I've been derailed, but it's all good. So I think we'll kick this off. Yeah. Yeah, we will. Like I believe the guests here are for the application. No, you don't know.
Bill, the guest we have in the room is Brock's sweetheart.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Let's check through everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then online, I think we've got Karen online and RDCK and Zach from planning, and Doug. Okay, I think maybe before we really get moving, again, just would like to recognize that we are holding this meeting on the unceded territory of the Ktunaxa Nation, and we have Métis people, and we are forever grateful for what we call home. There was an agenda that went out for this meeting. It has 2 applications that we're to consider tonight, and then an update on the Banker Creek project. Given we're going to have 2 applications tonight to review, if there are members of those groups that are either on the call or in the room, just want to recognize and remind everybody that everybody at this table, except for RDCK staff and Roger as our area director, are volunteers. We're all volunteering to be here. We're not paid or compensated or part of the regional district. We are all residents of the regional district, whether it be in Harrison or in Yak or Canyon or all of the Area B communities Do we have any other additions or changes to the agenda that we'd like to make? No, we're good with the agenda as is. The meeting minutes from the October 29th meeting were shared. Are there any additions or changes or notes that we should add to the October 29th meeting? Also, no. Okay. And so I think maybe we can move into our staff reports. So the first report is the development variance permit application for, I'm going to horribly mispronounce names, and I'm very sorry. The Gortson? You know how to pronounce that? Gortson application. Roger, I don't know if you want to speak to these, or if we have maybe if Zach can. That's here to speak to this one.
Yeah, I can give a brief overview if that's okay with everyone. Just to check, is my sound okay? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we got you great.
Okay. So yeah, the application by Rod Gortson is a development variance permit to allow the farm residential footprint to be more than 60 meters from the front lot line. So you might be familiar with certain zoning regulations in the AG1 zone that require a farm residential footprint to be within 60 meters of the front lot line. And there's limitations on the size of the farm residential footprint as well as the dwelling. Rod, the applicant and property owner, has confirmed that he, in an email to me a couple days ago, that the house will comply with the 300 square meter maximum size, and the farm residential footprint size will also comply with the 2,500 square meters. So it's just this 60 meters from the front property line that they need a variance for, and they are proposing that the farm residential footprint will be a maximum depth of 120 meters from the front lot line. So just a bit of context, there was a house previously in the location where they're looking to build this new house. There's also services, there's hydro and a concrete septic system on the property, as well as a water service line that all lead to the same area where they're proposing to build the new house. So the goal of this application is simply to allow them to build the new house where the previous house footprint was, and to utilize those existing services. And by doing so, they are trying to minimize the impact on existing agricultural uses on the property. So happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Great, thank you, Zach. Ron,
Yeah. I did participate in a site visit about a week ago, along with the Hudson Valley Agricultural Advisory Commission members. All members were there. We walked around the property and noted that the driveway to the property is a shared driveway with the property just to the south of them has a house on it and some agricultural development. So that's a good thing as far as the total square meters. It's half that driveway is on their property. The front of the property where the bylaw requires 60 meters from the front of the property, that is where the house should be, is a very productive piece of ag land. It's in fact, it's all been tilled and turned, and it's all ready for planting. Beautiful rich soil. And back at about the 120 meter mark from the front of the property was the residential footprint. And we observed where there was a tile field installed. It's quite an old piece of property. I don't know what the house would have dated back to, but You know, so I don't know what the shape of that tile field is. They will probably have to have that inspected as part of the building bylaw. We did note that they were power lines going to that residential footprint as well as the water service there. Water service. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll the commissioners meeting.
Thanks.
So it sounds like the new house is gonna go where the old house was. And if they had to follow this 60-meter rule, they would be taking away from existing good agricultural area. So it's better off where they're wanting to build. Sounds like a no-brainer.
Is there, Zach, has there been a building permit submitted thus far?
I don't think we've received a building permit yet. I think the applicant was aware of these rules and chose to seek this variance approval first. I can do a quick check in our system just to confirm that, but you can carry on with the discussions, and then maybe I'll chime in a couple minutes just to confirm if we have an active building permit file.
Only because if a permit has been submitted, water requirements, water service. Those other conditions that Zach spoke to will come up. But we're not permanent.
Yeah. And I can confirm that, because that was a question that the other group had, and it was confirmed that the property owner is aware of the requirements and that they are planning to build a house within those requirements, 300 square meters.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Be quiet.
No. No meter will be installed immediately. From his building.
Original house there, presumably, had water.
It did, yeah.
So if I can ask for a motion that be put forward either to support or not support the application, I would appreciate it. Language is in the
I move we support this variance.
second. Any opposed? None opposed. Okay. Second application, Don, I hear you're speaking to this one?
Yes. But it's not as.
Okay. Okay. Zach, are you able to find if there confirm if there's a building permit filed yet for that application?
Yeah, I can confirm that the applicants have not yet submitted a building permit application.
Okay. Thank you.
So maybe, Chair, a good or important thing if Zach can explain to us the requirements for that brought this to the table here for the land use bylaw amendment application for Columbia Basin Trust on behalf of the Brentwood Kitchener Society. What exactly are they seeking to do here?
Yeah, I can give you a brief overview of my conversations with the couple of folks from Columbia Basin Trust that I've been dealing with. So originally, the inquiry came through our planning inbox. Basically, there's some funding available through Columbia Basin Trust to do some improvements to an existing park. Through the review of that proposal to establish some new facilities at this park, it was actually determined that the existing zone does not line up with the way that the property has been used for a number of years. And in order to facilitate those improvements, the correct zoning has to be applied to this property. So essentially the zoning right now is community services, which covers a range of uses, but does not actually include parks or park facilities. So the applicants were made aware of this existing non-conforming status and were advised that as rezoning the property to parks and recreation would be the best first step, as that would obviously permit a range of park-related uses in order to facilitate the proposed improvements. So this is essentially an exercise to bring the land use bylaw into conformity with the way that the property has been used for a number of years and facilitate those planned improvements for the site. So again, happy to answer any questions if there are any, but that's kind of a synopsis of what they're after here.
I have a question. I'm just wondering, curious why it's Columbia Basin Trust who is the applicant, not Prince.
Yeah, so that's because the way that they filled out the application forms, they were kind of coordinating all of the discussions with staff and filling out the submission forms, as well as coordinating with their consulting landscape architects to have the site plans drawn. So it was pretty much just because that's the way that they submitted the application. They identified that Katie Kendall of Columbia Basin Trust was essentially acting as the agent for Friends of Kitchener Society. And I just acknowledged what was on the application form when it was submitted.
And we're going through it right now, but change the name, went home. In the old name, and so there's a bunch of stuff that sure that all lines up. So yeah, CBT had come to Kitchener and to a couple of other small communities, like some particular things. First, we had talked about the hall. But after discussion and feeling engagement, we decided that those funds were. We already have a working hall that's got a new kitchen upgrade, and like that, we do have this piece of land that we made from the Wigan family about like or more, and it has been sitting in this kind of weird zoning for a number of years. Hasn't been utilized or looked after or kept up with it all. So this is kind of our push into, hey, let's do something with this space that's actually cool. And yeah, will be used by the community. So I think there are plans and everything that are attached to our application. And yeah, they've come up with what you've done. We've gone back and forth and taken stuff out. We've had some engagement for all of that. So far it's gone really good. Now we're here. Any question on?
Yeah, how much funding are you access?
So they haven't given us specific for funding, but they have gotten close in the ballpark of where and it looks like it's going to be like $1,000.
They spent money so far on the architect, and they're spending money on staff to do this, which is okay. Good.
I think that they hired and then they also do some plans for the hall and stuff. Yeah, they already have put some funds. And I think we've had 2 community engagement sessions on whether we to the hall or the park, what they can do over just
And you had good community.
good community, and everybody was like, but all of us focused on the park, so that was Did you have anything else you want to add, Roger?
Yeah. This is an incredible opportunity for Kitchener. It's huge, yeah. I mean, you know, an affordable community for young people to move to or work in the area, build property. So a lot of young people, a lot of young kids, hopefully. And Columbia Basin Trust has put a lot of thought into this, a lot of engagement. And I understand the budget they have is closer to 900. And, you know, the beautiful drawings they've received from this company. And in fact, they've hired a project manager who used to be a colleague of mine at BC Parks. He had the same job, recreation officer, and his parents owned the house right next door to my house at Wassa Lake, which Brian went on to be the CAO of Regional District of Central Kootenays, and I believe up in Golden, and retired from that position, and now he's Columbia Basin Trust wisely has hired him to be a project manager for the project in Kitchener and the one they're doing in Yak. So they've got a really good man to implement these plans. And yeah, I mean, the forward thinking, I think, by Columbia Basin Trust was really incredible and a great opportunity for both Yak and Kitchener to get a couple of new facilities that are going to make a big difference.
How big is the parcel? 1 hectare. Okay, I couldn't tell.
Actually, I have a question for Zach, and maybe it can help illuminate the parcel size. Zach, on figure, I think it's Z2601B on page 22 of the minutes package that we have tonight. There's a it looks like the parcel is outlined in like a blue color, but the CS zoning, which is the community services zoning, doesn't cover the whole parcel, it just covers a portion of it. And that's different than what shows up on the following map in the application. So I guess I was just wondering if you could sort of confirm the data and how the mapping layers are presenting in this figure.
Yeah, thanks for that question. It was a little weird for me too when I was first looking at it. Essentially, the land use designation in the official community plan is community services in the center of the lot, and then on the western and the eastern extent of the property, it's actually a rural residential designation. So that's why the map on page 23 of the referral package, or I guess the agenda, and then the following map on page 24 of the agenda look different, because then on 24 you have the zoning designations on that specific map. So essentially the zoning lines up with the lot lines, but the land use designation right now does not line up with the existing lot lines for the parcel. And just related to the other question, it's just over 1 hectare, the specific lot.
So is that reference between the zoning and the use planning zoning going to potentially room for this group in the future?
Sorry, the sound was getting a little choppy there. Could you maybe just repeat that part of the question?
I just want to make sure the difference between the planning map and the park, if that would continue after this, like let's say this is approved, that continues, is that going to cause a problem for the group if they go to do something in the future? They're going to have incongruous land use definition.
Yeah, so through the application, we're planning to align the new zoning or the new land use designation with the new zoning designation. So essentially the goal of this application is to make the entire property designated park and recreation, and then also zoned park and recreation. So the new zoning and the new land use designation will be consistent with the lot lines.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And I'll just add. Basically, they didn't know that this was going to be an issue, so they've gone down the road quite a bit, and when they discovered this, there was really no one in the community that could, make this application, and they were anxious to get it going. They really want to get it started and completed this summer. So they just said, leave it to us. We will step handle this through with the help of the regional district.
Any other questions, comments? Anyone interested in making a motion?
Sure. I move that we accept this variance. We need to get the zoning change.
Any seconds? Adam seconds. Any opposed? No, no opposed. All right. Well, thanks very much for the discussion. Thanks, Jack. Really appreciate your input on both of those applications.
Yeah, thanks for your time, everyone.
And this takes us to our section 9 on the agenda, which is the Gary.
I think we'll have a presentation on the board. Hopefully. I mailed it to someone. I sent to somebody. No. It's not.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me for it? What might I ask you for? And I didn't send it back to you. What did you? No, it's a couple days ago. But why I have back, if I can make it. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. Should be good. Yeah. Does it say Area B? No. I gotta get my glasses.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Just say Area B.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one Area B. That's the one.
Okay, yeah. Yes. That's everybody.
Oh, and there's
Just like use the water that's there.
Yeah.
It's on its own. Oh, it's, yeah, that's. There will be a age. I saw that. I mean, okay, let's walk out there.
Can I say something while we wait?
Yeah.
4 residents on my road have been approached by the town president to allow access to the top of like Hutchcroft Hill. And they don't want that. So they're writing a letter to oppose it. And so basically the town wants, it's not town land or anything, but Hutchcroft has donated a little bit of land. But normally all the residents have allowed people to sort of walk on that public road. But now the town said there's liability and they take it over. But the residents don't want that, so we're gonna fence it off. So you might hear about it.
What about the road that already goes up there?
Well, there's a road, but it's blocked off. Can't drive up.
But you can walk.
You can walk. But yeah, and people have walked and we've let them, but there's been some vandalism lately, garbage, and you don't want to disrupt that area. It's very natural and
Someone will have, I'm curious, what was down, the town owns their property up there with that. But that goes to, trying to remember her name. On 36, who was a hush crop.
Gwen Kelly.
Kelly.
Oh, yeah, Gwen, all over there.
When, donated, this chunk of property. And, I think Erickson had a shot at it, but the town ended up, accepting it. And, it starts on by 36 for across from the mill and goes up the hill and up and beautiful piece of property.
But up top is all private, no, except for Gwen's Peak, which is near the town road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, that road goes up.
You go to the slideshow?
I think it's Gwen's property.
And then go from the beginning.
Well, there's a whole bunch, because on 36,
Nope,
there's this
fine,
big
yeah.
lab that the town,
From the beginning.
approved and
That should be.
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the issue is, there are trails.
So,
Well, there's no, well, it's privately owned by all the people on 27th,
Yeah.
so I'm just telling you that all those people are approving it. They're gonna send a letter to the town saying they're approving.
Good.
Because
Well,
it's
if it's-
already- in Artist Game.
what the lights do on the-
I think there's a zebra on that. Okay, so
Side,
leave it.
up and down on the side.
Just slide it. Yeah, there you
Okay. As you know, I've been talking about this for a year. So, I mean, this first slide tells the whole story. Always told the rest of when I went up there in June, and the far photograph was taken in October of last fall. Neat.
History of the original bridge.
Well, there's quite a history there. Top of where these three bridges. This bridge was the last one there. I think not approved, just the volunteers. Did it. Where the bridge is now, I think it's the original. And I don't know what happened to it. But then right above that, there's another crossing where a bridge was put in by BC Parks, I think. Collapsed in the snow loading. Parts begin to, and this bridge here collapsed, it didn't move, it just fell into the creek. And it's been in the creek, I don't know, for quite a few years. And the water has not moved it, it's just the beam or the string is full. Because it's all alpine forest. And the wood very strong, they were on the top. I think the snow loading was has been there and gradually falling apart. And I think I told this story in the fall of 24, I was up there with my friend, water was separate from mine. So we decided to fix that.
And the trail. Kainuku?
Yeah, this, the official name is the St. Creek Trail, but the local call it Haystack. What goes up to the provincial park, it's about 2.5 days to the south boundary or west boundary. The St. Creek Trail actually goes all the way to the park and goes out to north and east of Haystack. It ties in with St. Mary, so you could actually hike the anyway. But most people, once they get into the park, they go unofficial trail like Haystack. And it becomes a little bit of a scramble to get to the top of Haystack. I know one up there. And, but that's where most people go to. But we've also taken over the trail within the park. And there's at least 3 little lakes in the middle of the park. We want to make it a through trail, a proper through trail.
Yeah.
It'd be about 10K to go all the way to the park. But I've talked to, I haven't been on it. I don't, have you been all the way to the park?
No.
No, most people don't. They go
Yeah,
to the Haystack. But
It
I've
gets
been told it's a really nice trail, allows some stuff out on the lakes. And something like the opportunity to go all the way through and come out. And that's what this is giving. It'd be up near,
the Meechin array.
yeah, our glass lake and
Each other.
Haystack lake. Sandra, remember this last year, that couple got they drowned up there, and we would have thought? It's a thing
From the other end,
Yeah,
yeah.
on the other end. Nice area, and this was long time coming. Page, where's the page thing? Page up. Page down, there. So this is what we proposed, we said we need to use in 24. And the main thing was to do a bridge across the street, but the whole trail needed work. So we were proposing additional wooden and boardwalk from the wet areas. And broke the trail out. And the crew would know about that. They did all the work. And the other big problem was the forestry road. The Snake Creek Forestry Road, the last time it came, was kind of a through road that no one was supposed to have. It was really rough. My truck was already scratched up, so it didn't bother me too much. But,
You could lose a lot of paint. There's a lot of alders on that.
yeah, it was bad. So it kept people from going up.
Yep.
Unless you had an older truck, you couldn't go up this one. It was getting, for every year, it's getting worse. So that was a major part of the project. So I put a budget together, $7,000 with no volunteers, just like optional. That's where we started. That's where it was. And was to complete it in the coming year, which we did. So this is what we ended up with. A new bridge across the creek. It had to be strong enough to handle the storm, but light enough to fly. We're at about 1,600 meters here. Whitney Pass is 17 something, so it's basically the same morning through the pass. We actually contacted them, but they have information from somebody that brought this thing forward. I sent that to the company for the. So keep your fingers crossed, it's things by, no 3 meters of what's still. And then take a quick value is pretty well. That was a big thing. And again, line up. The waste is under 2,000 pounds. And we actually ended up putting in 8 wooden bridges from 12 to 18 feet. And I'll show the photographs. But it ain't boardwalk. And we got all the vegetation coming back right up to the park. And we got the road cleared of all everything. Whiz back through. RK soon. And our tank cost was $6,000. And that's because we had a lot of volunteer help. I knew we would get started. Really overwhelmed, not overwhelmed, just people just help. And we basically got it done. There's 3 more boardwalks to put in, worker up there right outside where they need it. We have to place them and fix them up. One day, work with 2 guys will make that happen. We'll get that done as soon as the summer's done. So why, I started at 70,000, now at 40,000. But we got a lot of nice surprises. I've worked on a lot of projects. Usually things go sideways. Nothing went sideways. Couldn't believe it. The big thing was the bridge. This bridge was made on Vancouver Island by,
Riptide or something.
what is it? Riptide, yeah. Thank you. Riptide Marine. And they make hiking bridges all across. In fact, all the new bridges up at Mount Mountain on the Bear Lake Trail, I've got worked every year. They do. They're just saying what they're doing. So I got a quote from them in January. You know what happened in January last year? But we couldn't order the bridge because Rexite Trail Speed Cream had to do a final inspection when we couldn't get it to do. So I figured from January, what happened, so here, there was a major increase in price of the. It didn't happen. I was shocked. And the reason was, we the material all short. But I didn't know what. I'm actually too much. So I budgeted quite a bit of increase. And, they kept their points, so it was pretty good. 8 work bees, 140 some hours of, slave labor, $35 an hour. Yeah, that adds up. Big help. The other thing is, BC Park came in, when I talked to them in the spring, they said, no, can't help you. This park is not considered, high public position, even though we know about how to keep that. So in June, or sometime, we came back to take that health officer. There's a $4,000 bill. They actually thought that was gonna cost more, but they came through and paid for that. Rec Site Trails BC, Lisa was about to put in 10,000 tires, turned out to only have to put in 5, but we also sent a crew up for 4 days. Four person crew, really good crew. And they did a lot of work. Well, it's definitive. And then once BC Park, they would find a home truck in, they had to have a trained ground crew, which is a good thing. Well, BC Forest Service one day, they sent over, I think, 4 or 5 people from Nelson. And then really what do forestry for the village. And I talked to them in March. And the lady I talked to, and she said, well, I'm retired. End of the month, you need to talk to the new guy. The new guy was totally different, he was right outside. I actually met him up there in early June, just by accident. He said, I'll do it. I just don't know when. Well, he didn't get around to it until October, but he got it done. So all those things show really partnership, like everybody pulled together. Like I said, things just like this, nothing did. So, at least not unless the Bruce one.
So Roger, you worked for the government, so did BC Parks have extra money that they had to spend in their budget, or it usually doesn't fall out of the sky like that kind of money then?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, we would have got the bridge. We actually don't do it before. The way things worked out.
That Ministry of Forest that you.
Yeah, they had a new company, yeah, a good town now, that was at their own. And, like I say, the city of the road was clear. How it worked. He was up there having lunch. We chat, yeah, I explained to him how important the trail was, and there's other trails up there. That can access on the road, so we went outside. Now for that. In fact, he was up in the one that read so. But they had, not only enforcement. So I thought it was pretty good. Impressed.
To answer Lon's question, I think that they were probably quite impressed with their organization, his fundraising, his, the crews, and there is new regional director, for East West District, that in Nelson, Tennessee Trent name, and, I would bet that they were, talking about how valuable this is, and how well organized.
Well, it's something I can think, finding what they're trying to do. I was able to convince them, even though it's somewhat of a wilderness, people like to go up there. Yeah, it's good.
Kind of goal. Everyone knows it's a Tunahan name for gold.
For goat?
For goat. It's the headwaters of the Gold River.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah. And this is saying, the fund raising, same thing, real, they basically was interested in the grant. They put in 16,000. And it actually shut the school, believe it or not. And there was not less than 6. They came through. Custom Community Forest was 5,000 out of that. Community Foundation, 4,000. Already grants, 2,500. And then, I guess there were some 8 years.
I think Gary and gave 5,000 each, and
Yeah,
he gave 2,000.
I think that's right. Again, really good partnership. And then say Rick Trails, he gave 5,000 back. And they had another 5,000. I cannot say enough about Rick Site Trails. In fact, I think I'll show you a photograph of them. It will help that. But she was really good. These are our slave labor. I say, hey, work these, all good people, good help. Couldn't make it happen without them. This is taken in the fall of 24 in October. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So my friend almost went in. That's a pretty good drop there. Plus it's in October. It's been very cold. But she hit her head on the rock and it was been good. We're gonna remove this. We're gonna cut that out this spring, once we can get back
I
up there.
tried to cross out.
Oh.
That might be.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. Yeah, not good.
No,
This is taking this is from the other side. This is a new crossing after we cut out all the alders. You couldn't see across the creek, but and you can see that there's a log. And above that, there's some old timber, probably from 30 years ago. So, and then this is a abutment on the near side or the far side. We put in 6x6 cribbing, and that's actually bolted to that rock that's in the front. And on this side, we bolted those to just sitting on a couple of. So it's bolted in right into the rock. So hopefully it won't go anywhere. This is a bridge on Vancouver Island, just out of the shop. This is the bridge in Creston. And the cost of the bridge included transportation to Creston. And then we got the trust company, True Line, is it? They hauled it up to kilometer 10.5, the Forest Road. Perfect trailer. Had to back, run away from it. Didn't have that. That was pretty neat. 36 feet, 3 feet wide. There she comes. 150-foot long line. And this is the final product from the near side. So it's quite elevated above the creek. So I don't think water will ever be a problem. Well, I shouldn't say that. If that washes out from water, people in Senka got a problem. Yeah, but it's quite high. Just another photograph looking. I was up there after the first snow and it's kind of neat. I think we will try to have a grand opening this summer, ribbon cutting. So we'll make sure we'll invite all the important people. These are all the beams of the wooden bridges. And you cannot see there, but Lisa knocking this thing in. Lisa, I don't know if you remember, not very good tree, but she was helping, and she's the supervisor. So I give her full credit. But that's actually worked pretty well. The sticks and the straps. The only trouble some places. Some guys were in the bush with them. And we didn't have to go very far. So that most of the wooden bridges were in the first 500 meters of the trail. So we didn't have to go very far. But they did heavy work there. This is the first boardwalk that we put in just at the trailhead. And this is our first bridge. They're basically just two stringers with cedar decking on top. And this gives you an idea. Jumping across rocks on this side with a new bridge on the other side, 18-foot bridge. Then in the background is a third bridge. This is the same bridge looking the other way. They're quite nice. This one's actually built by the rec crew. They did that one. And then we did this one, 3 of our volunteers. This is the third bridge. And again, this is the third bridge. We had there was a couple of logs there before. I think the new bridge is probably a little bit better. Bridge 2 and 3, looking back. very nice, quite scenic. Bridge number 4, 12-footer, and then we added a boardwalk on the far end because it's pretty sloppy in there. Lots of springs and lots of water coming out of the side of the mountain. Pretty lush. Then we had this old log crossing, which is one of these days the bark was gonna come loose and they go kaput. So we actually moved the bridge upstream a little bit because it was only had to put in a 12-footer. Where here might have been an 18 or 20-footer. So that one, and bridge number 7, this is above Sanka Creek. Somebody's dog. 12-foot bridge. And this is the last bridge that we had, number 8, 16-footer. Those 2 bridges are done by volunteers. This will be about 1 kilometer up, about halfway to the park. And then after that one, we have, you can see someone that put in logs many, many years ago on the left, and then we put in a nice boardwalk. The boardwalks are 3x10 Douglas fir on cedar, 6x6s or whatever, or some cases are on the rock, just depends. But I think those most of the boards are 12 feet long. So that boardwalk is close to 36 feet in 3 sections. Same thing, that's what we had on the left. Now we got a nice boardwalk on the right. It's all rough sawn lumber done by Doug Smith out by Goat River on Highway 3. It's one of my volunteers helping number 8. Like I said, we got, well, I think I'm confused there. It's like I think this should be number 9. But anyway, we got 3 more to do next year. But the lumber has already been packed in. And that's about it. And this is my project for this year. If you've been to Bouncing Rock, the old boardwalk is falling apart. It was put in, I don't know, 30 years ago. So we're going to replace it. We have the funding in place now. And we'll start in April, middle of April. And we're going to put in a floating dock. We're going to put in 4x5 dock, the same as they use at the harbor. You just sit them on top of the wetlands and then put a boardwalk across the top. Good work. In fact, I'm going up to Belfort tomorrow to get the boardwalk or get the boats. So by bird test, oh, they always go up there every year, right? For birdie, they'll have a nice boardwalk. Good night, sir. That's all I got, Roger.
Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. A little nervous all summer. Till the bridge was up.
Before it started, the rain, the helicopter.
Yeah. Good work, though. How far up the Sanka Creek Road? The trailhead's at kilometer 17. Yeah. The first 10 kilometers is on the main road and PS Campforce area. They maintain it, but they're not going to be loading it for now, quite a few years. So I actually talked before she about that. Someone needs to grade, run a grader up to it. The last 70K Spur Road that goes right to the trailhead. The road surface is good. Yeah. I mean, a couple potholes, but you could fly in there pretty fast. But the alder, it was just. Wow.
When I was up there surveying
Oh,
last fall, I ran into a bridge inspector on the South Sanka Road. He was looking at those old bridges and looking at the Canfor development maps. They have a bunch of rocks and stuff. So I think they will be keeping that road maintained for a lot of time.
Because the other thing, once I get kilometer 10 and then pick up Spur Road, another 7K, about kilometer 13 is a little branch road in Sherman Lake. And everybody talks about how nice Sherman Lake is, but the trail needs. So we're going to probably look at that this summer. May not get the work done this year, but maybe next summer we'll get Sherman Lake open up. So that just helps, enforce the idea that we need to maintain this road system.
I need to get up there this summer and check it out. Yeah.
Well, you drive your car up to well, I wouldn't do that. I know it's, well, you know, Glenn Talent drives her Subaru up there, no problem, right? But Glenn's different.
No, it's super good.
Yeah.
I also want to say a personalized, part of the volunteers, really, people are really touched by that. You make people volunteers.
Yeah, well, we have a tendency to abuse.
Well, when you refer to them as slaves.
Yeah. Well, I'm a slave too, so personal place. But we made up a postcard. And we got one. And I wrote a personal note on every one of them. 25 or 30. For stamp on it. People don't get things like that anymore. The feedback so far is pretty good, eh?
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Yeah. Anyway. Thanks, Roger, for your support.
Thank you, Jerry, for, wow, what a fantastic job for the community. Yeah. Amazing.
Keeps me out of trouble.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much again, Jerry, for that. Next on our agenda is call for public time. We do have a member of the public in the room if there's any questions or you're interested in anything. And certainly we've got Doug online. If there are any questions or public input, now is the time for that.
I think Gary will give you absolutely awesome.
Well, I had lots of help. I just happen to be the person who talks about it, but I had lots of help.
Well, there's management skills too.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much.
Currently, our next meeting is scheduled for April 28th, to the end of next month. Same location, same time, 7 p.m. That's it. We'll call this meeting adjourned. But we do, so we'll wrap up the RDCK portion, but we will just stick around for a few more minutes